Guys, I'm here to tell you about a brand new service from our partners at Surfshark VPN. It is called Incogni.
Now, have you ever signed up for something? You go to a tournament, do a paintball tournament, Magic the Gathering tournament,
Yes.
and they sold your information,
Yes.
and now you're getting all sorts of weird spam
Yeah, they
emails.
made me write my email down. I didn't realize what it would do, and now I get a bunch of crap from it.
Yeah, they sold your information. Now, you have a right to have them delete all of that information off of the internet. You could go through every single database and put it through the request and
I
do
forgot
Yeah.
at that point. A bunch of different stuff.
But Incogni does it for you. They go through a massive list of databases. They look for your information and force them to delete it so you can have your privacy back.
Definitely. With this service, we even have a promotional deal where the first 100 people that sign up with Angry Joe Show below will get 20% off of this service. Don't have your home number and address and all this stuff floating out there. Protect your privacy, and this is yet another layer that Surfshark provides. So, hope you guys enjoy the video. Thank you so much for watching. Hey guys, welcome to our Marvel Moon Knight review. Disney Plus. Been a little while since I've been on that. I've been on HBO Max. I've been on Paramount Plus with Halo. So now we're back to Disney Plus, and this is the next Marvel series starring Oscar Isaacs, right? And with a very eccentric, weird, Egyptian mythology and lore character called Moon Knight. Now, we got access to the first 4 episodes, one day only. So we had it all crammed in there. Now, this review is actually just going to be on episode 1, no spoilers. We'll have a bump, and then we'll have some spoilers for just episode 1. And then we'll have a second bump, and we could talk to you a little bit about some of the spoilers in the next episode and kind of what we think is going to happen and what we feel about the show overall after having seen 4 episodes. But we can actually do a little bit of that as well during the review. So just know that we've seen a little bit more than most people in Moon Knight. And let's jump right in. So I think that the opening of Moon Knight show is solid. This is certainly different. I don't think that there's any kind of other Marvel show that's quite like this one. It is kind of a mixture of comedy, action, mythology, and it's dealing with Egyptian gods. And I actually like all the Egyptian stuff, like Anubis and Ra and stuff. So to see a moon god, right? The mummy is fucking cool.
Like an S tier.
Right. And so I was hoping for some of that. Obviously, in the first episode, it's setting up the world. What we're setting up here is Oscar Isaacs playing Stephen Grant.
Stephen Grant.
And he loves mythology, loves this kind of historical stuff, and studies it quite a bit, but he's not even a tour guide. He's not a curator or anything. He's a gift shop guy.
Very tropey. It's like, everyone picks on him.
Timid.
No one knows his name.
Nobody knows. It's like, no one
He
wants
wears
to hang out with this
glasses.
guy.
Reminded me a little bit of fucking
It's like,
Wonder Woman.
Why can't they just do like, hey, this guy is a tour guide?
Yeah.
But I don't know the lore. I don't know Moon Knight. But if that's his character, okay.
His boss sucks, and he's kind of in a daze in his life. But he has this eccentricness where he binds himself to his bed every day. He's got this ritual to make sure he doesn't leave the house. And we slowly learn that, at random intervals, he'll just wake up in the middle of fucking nowhere or somewhere. He's like, what the fuck just happened? Something is going on. And we slowly learn that he kind of has, 2 personalities within him. And he gets kind of thrust into this crazy underground cult led by Ethan Hawke, who, it's kind of like I don't know, seeing him in this, it's like a Kevin Bacon kind of just out of place kind of thing. It's got that vibe of, but you know what? He actually does kind of make it work. I started to buy him later on, and I liked his character as this villain, but so he gets sucked into this world, and a new personality of his kind of emerges. And so you've got this split personality. You got maybe some mental illness or some repressed memories and things like that. So it plays around with a lot of stuff. And then we get a little bit of the Marvel comes in, and that's. But here it's most un-Marvel-like because you don't really think Egyptian lore and gods and jackals and stuff when you're thinking of Marvel. It's almost its own little self-contained universe within the Marvel, and that's kind of the way the powers of the Egyptian gods are in the Marvel universe. It's like a subset pocket universe. But apparently they have magical powers, and they've bestowed, certain people who are avatars of them and certain powers to, I don't know, kind of do their will in the world, but not too much, but not too, because they don't want to reveal themselves to mortals.
Like the Eternals.
Yeah, and
We're just here to see. We won't intervene.
I want to watch.
Sometimes we will.
And so we get this Ethan Hawke ridiculous religious cult leader who's essentially judging people and wants to bring forth one of the Egyptian gods out to judge everybody to create sort of a utopia. The problem is it doesn't really matter whether you've done something bad in the past or whether you might do something in the future. And then it's almost kind of hypocritical because it's like, are they really judging? Are we doing like a minority report here? You're judging innocent people that may or may not do bad things. And so that's where our Marvel hero comes in. He's got to figure out a way to stop this. But because he's not in control of his facilities, his mental, faculties, he's dealing with awakening, essentially. And then we get our, jackals, and we get an awakening. And then most of, actually, the trailer was kind of, this first episode. Kind of a little surprised by that. But the tone was different from other Marvel shows, and ultimately, I do think it was solid. We have a lot of playing back and forth between the two personalities, and at the very end, you get kind of suited up and you get ready to go. So I liked it in that sense, but there were some missing elements and some pacing issues where I was like, okay, this is solid setup. Now we're going to get to the good stuff, right? That's what I'm hoping after I saw the first episode. Unfortunately, it doesn't really get there until much later, and there's more issues. It basically goes down from there, but it is a solid setup. What did you guys think?
For me, it was a above-average film. I like Oscar Isaac's characters in this. The way he does banter with himself is pretty fucking amazing. Yeah, he's acting and then acting upon acting. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it's just very tropey. There's some stuff I wish they would have gone more into detail with, but it just kept everything vague and it had more questions than anything.
Vague is the key word here. And we're in episode 4 where we still have no fuck idea what's going on here.
But just on this one, I just thought it was just above average film or above average episode for starters.
Yeah, I think I agree.
It's hard to judge it just on that one episode. It's like, all right, I immediately need more.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a pretty solid start. I think they were a little heavy-handed with this guy's a weenie, and he's a weenie.
Yeah, the tropes.
And by the way, he's a weenie. It's like, okay, I get it. And it's like, yeah, but you're not supposed to like him. It's like, I get that he's the opposite of this other one. It's like, no, but he's...
I liked him. He's the best part of the show for me. He's kind of that particular character because Mark is rather boring in comparison. And as we get into further episodes where we start to explore Mark and his backstory, I don't care.
Do we need Mark?
No.
You do, because Mark is...
Because that's the comic book, Joe.
Yeah. So I think it's a pretty good place. I really like Ethan Hawke. I think Oscar Isaac has killed it too. So I think that at this episode, I was like, all right, now I'm a little intrigued. I don't know what after episode 1. It's like I don't know what's happening. I don't know where we're gonna go with this. I don't know how quickly all of the missing pieces are gonna come together. And so I was interested for more after the first episode.
Yeah. And so same here. But unfortunately, the single episode doesn't feel like it stands too well on its own. It feels like it's just kind of chopped off, and we've got a real 5. It's actually only 6 episodes, so you got essentially a 5.5-hour movie. right? And it's just the beginning part of that 5.5
Yeah, it's
hours.
basically like you're just getting into the car. It's like, all right, we're on our way, and then that's it.
A weird start
It's a
to
weird start.
a weird character, and he's supposed to be weird. And it gets really weird in episode 4. It's kind of smashes to black in those credits. You're like, what? Like, that's probably the weirdest it gets at the end of episode 4. And then you realize, well, they only have 2 more episodes to wrap this up. It's like, oh, shit. This is going to be an epic conclusion if to stick the landing here. But, yeah. So... and honestly, the action. How did you feel about the action? There's no real action in
It's
this.
poor.
At the very end, you get a small fight scene. Unfortunately, in the suit, it's mostly off screen. And the big reveal is he turns around and he's in the suit. And it's like, okay, well,
trailer.
now I need to see
Yeah.
2,
It also-
3, 4, 5.
It also looks like he's punching in slow motion in that final scene. So if you're looking for action in episode 1, you're not getting any.
No.
Yeah, this is
a setup.
mainly character study and Oscar Isaacs holding up the episode. If you like Oscar Isaacs, if you like the plucky, nerdy guy who's always being shit on by his bosses and his friends, and then something
seen it
crazy
once.
happens to him, and then him getting powers at the end. Then you probably like this. As far as would you like the series, if you're if you like Egyptian mythology, you're definitely going to like it. But it does, I think, have more flaws than I was expecting in later episodes. So let's go ahead and give the final verdicts to episode 1 and episode 1 only.
For me, it's gonna be like I said, above average, a 7. That's the highest I could go. Is a 7.
Yeah.
I could see it's like, okay, I'm intrigued. I want to see more of it, and I love the way Oscar Isaac was playing both characters. Obviously, I lean more towards Sir Stephen Grant because then Mark is more like a Jason Bourne kind of thing. We're trying to figure out what's going on. Still have so many questions. So it still had me intrigued on episode 1.
That's
7
what
overall. The actors did a great job with what they had.
It's really hard to judge an episode, especially an opener like on its own. But I do think this is above edge. But there's a lot of things that are missing here. It doesn't feel. We've watched so many great things from Disney Plus that feel cohesive and tight, and that just have me ready to watch that second one. And I can't wait to watch that. And I honestly didn't feel that here. I'm interested, and I want to continue watching it. Like, I don't think this is bad by any means, but this isn't as strong as a start as I was really hoping, because I like everyone involved in this project. This is a comic book character that I know of, but I'm not super familiar with in any means. So it's just like I want to know more, and it's like, man, I really wish we had a stronger start. So I think it's above average. I'm gonna give it a 6. But I don't even. I mean, 7 is probably too high for me.
And my final, I was at a 7, but because we didn't really get a satisfying jump into the fight, the action choreography and stuff like that, I'm taking it down to a 6. That's the highest, because I do like it. I like Oscar Isaacs, and I'm sure we're going to get more of that. And unfortunately, do we really get more of that? No, episode 2 and 3 and 4, we still haven't really gotten that that fucking Ben Affleck Batman scene where he's just fucking kicking ass and shit.
Like,
There's something like that in, I think, episode 2 or 3, but it still hasn't ramped up, And I don't know anything about Moon Knight. It to me looks like a white Batman. That's kind of white Batman, and is wearing a bunch of sheets, and I was like, oh, I wonder how that's gonna look. It looks pretty cool, and they do some cool stuff with the suit later on, with regards to the different personalities. But all of this stuff that dives into the Egyptian mythology and stuff is in later episodes. So essentially, here we get a split personality, we get this intrigue, and it does its job in making me want to see more. And that's what episode 1 had to, but it doesn't pay off in the action. It doesn't really pay off in like, oh fuck, man, Moon Knight is fucking sweet, dude. I'm totally a Moon Knight fan now. No, it's more, let me see more.
Yeah.
So 6 out of
Exactly
10
how I felt.
debut. We'll go ahead and give a rating in the second spoiler section of what we think of the premiere, and our premiere would have been the first 4 episodes. But yeah, so we're gonna actually go into spoilers now for episode 1, and if you don't want to see that, that's fine. But thank you so much for watching, and thank you to Surf Shark with Igcogni. Check that out, guys, and we will see you in the spoiler section. Bye, guys. Okay, welcome to the spoiler section. So this is for episode 1. Essentially, I think we get some pretty fun sequences, but with really weak car CGI. Did you guys notice that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're still No, this episode's already out.
That episode's
I was
out.
like, are
It's
they
out
still
today.
working on the CGI? No, it's not very good with the Ethan Hawke, cult thingy. But I like the idea that at night he's like kicking ass. Right? We just never see any of that shit. He has a double life, and we never see any of the double life. I wanted to see a little bit more, but this is more about discovering that. So the whole plot point is what? The religious guy wants
To bring forth kind of the almost like the apocalypse by killing everyone who will ever
what's his
do
name
anything
again?
evil.
He wants the
Ahmed.
scarab.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Amit. It's Ahmed, but it's
Ahmed?
A-M-M-I-T.
yeah, there's a compass that leads you to the tomb of this exiled god, and they want to release the god because the god will judge everyone based not on what they've done, but everything that they will do, and anyone who would ever think about doing anything evil, including children,
And
you
also,
whack them.
Yeah, and also, do you notice that there's a plot hole here? I guess later on in other episodes, his followers are doing fucked up shit later on, right? And they're kind of even doing fucked up shit in this episode. So how are they judged that they didn't do anything bad? So to me, that says that Ahmed is a fraud, and they're Ahmed is just culling the population or people that may be more willing to serve Ahmed or something like that.
I mean-
It's not true. Your spirit is clean or clear or anything like that, and
even
that's
Arthur,
why he must
Ethan
be
Hawke,
stopped.
His
But-
spirit's not clean.
Right, but you don't really get much of that yet. But you get a little inkling of it.
They
because
tried-
it kills an old woman.
Yeah, I mean, and so the devil's advocate who hasn't seen the whole episode would be like, well, no, because religious zealots always think they're doing what's right.
Correct.
But the problem is the entire time these are the dumbest Scooby-Doo bad guys that have ever existed, and I'm so disappointed with how the bad guys are handled in this.
Oh, yeah.
The bad guys capture the good guys over and over and over again, and you know what? They don't kill them. They let them live. They give them like free will.
Well, that plays into what you
That's
just
what
said.
that's what I'm saying is like that's why it doesn't make any sense. You can't just say, "Oh no, they want to be good." They don't see themselves as doing evil. It's like no, it's just poor writing that sometimes they're Scooby-Doo villains and sometimes they shoot people in the chest. And it doesn't make any sense. It's not cohesive. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and so there's a funny sequence where he's like, "All right, yeah, fuck, I don't fucking care. Take the fucking scarab." And he's like, "No, he won't grab it. He won't give him the scarab because Mark is in him, and he's not giving up the scarab." And I thought that was funny, but
Then he blacks out
he
and kills
basically
everyone.
tells the guy everything. I'm this guy working down the street. Here's my street address. And so later on, they visit him at the museum, and they kind of surround him with the followers. Even people that work at the museum are part of this cult, which, damn, this cult must have gotten all across the world to randomly have somebody that works in the museum. But okay, and he's basically asked for the scarab again, just give it to him, and he won't give it to him again. This is what I'm saying, over and over and over. And then just fucking leave. Not really, because off screen he summons via his. You don't ever see this, but we see it from later episodes. His cane, he can summon creatures,
Invisible creatures.
Yeah, that's. I was like, why does it need to be invisible? And that's a little annoying in one of the other episodes. But here it is visible. To Mark and Steven only, and so it's a jackal, kind of this wolf type creature, and it comes after him, and he's like, and he runs
terrified.
from it, and there's not real much action scene here. He's terrified. He runs into a bathroom, and we get some clever. I like what they're doing with the multiple personalities because he's interacting through
Every time there's a reflection, you can see.
reflections.
You can see.
The reflection starts to change, and it is Mark talking as the reflection. So he's talking to his reflection. That's well done. And he's like, take over. Let me take over. You don't know how to handle this. I'll handle it. He says, all right, boom, lets him. As soon as the jackal comes in, and then that's when he takes over and beats up the wolf, but mostly off screen. And then he turns around after beating his ass. And they make a point to try to make it more brutal because Mark is a more brutal person than Steven, obviously, but he's even more brutal than, say, Captain America, all of the other sort of Marvel characters. I don't really think he has too much of a moral compass to show mercy to fucking creatures. He's gonna kill a fucking
He
creature.
needs to get the job done. That's it.
Yeah. And that's basically it. There was another little funny moment where, because Steven is such a loser, he like talks to this guy who's this golden statue performer. He, like, tells him, and then you never know whether the performer's annoyed by him or actually does like him, because he does in fact give him money.
Yeah, because at the end I thought it was gonna be like, "Oh, thanks, Dad." I thought it was gonna be like his dad or something.
No, but so this he's just talking.
Because he looks like an older guy, so I was like, maybe it's his dad. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know where they're going with this.
So, honestly, not much spoilers here, because it's almost spoiler-proof. It's nothing much happened. There is the god, Khonshu. We call him Cashew. It's excuse me, what? Cashew? So Cashew, I wish we would have seen Cashew more. They do a good job of trying to hide him. I wanted to like really see him, in all of his glory, because he's kind of like this, bird-like death creature, but he's the god of the moon. And it makes you wonder, are there other gods in this universe? And later on, you do find that there's 9 gods. In fact, there's probably way more than 9 gods. It's just there's 9 gods that are kind of up higher or in a specific group. The Ened. He mentions it really, quickly when there's the marketing team at the museum said, here are some Egyptian gods, and he's like, well, there's two missing. She's like, shut up, just get out of here. That does.
You're stuck on inventory duty. It sucks. I hate inventory duty.
Yeah. So so that's really
That's
all
it.
I can say.
Not much happened in episode 1. It's just like setting up who this guy is, and they
Yeah.
really like 40 minutes. Like, this guy's a loser. It's like, I get it.
And like I said, it leaves you more with questions. It's like, okay, well, why is he talking to Steven, and who is he really? What the fuck is going on?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it leaves you with after the first episode.
You learn more about the villain in the second episode, and in the second episode, the performances from Oscar and Ethan are again holding it up. And then when you go into the third episode, we start to get a little bit more of a new character. Layla comes into play here, somebody from Mark's past. And then episode 4 really comes to head with them racing to try to either stop the resurrection of Ahmed, however you pronounce it, or do the resurrection. And some really stupid stuff happens. And I know Alex is going to rage about it, because I was raging about it, and I don't normally rage about that kind of stuff. So it gets pretty weak there towards the end. So, but anyways, that is the spoiler section for episode 1. If you want to go even deeper and listen to what we have to say, like legit about the whole series premiere so far,
About 2, 3, and 4.
about 2, 3, and 4, then stick with us. For the rest of you that want to kind of discover it along with us, you can do that, and we'll see you next week. But all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stick with us for our first ever second spoiler section. Hey guys, welcome to the super secret spoilers. This is for critics and press only. No, now you are a part of the Angry Army family. So let's talk about it. After the first 4 episodes, what do you guys think?
So the issue with villains that are inconsistent and are stupid and are cartoon characters is it murders any sort of tension that you would have, because the villains have had every opportunity to stop the good guys. I mean, every single step. They could have killed them. They could have imprisoned them. They could have stopped them. The villains will show up when the good guys are trying to figure out the next puzzle piece. They literally come to the next puzzle piece, and then he'll be like, I'm going to blow up your puzzle piece. And they're killing people while doing it. It's all you have to do is just go, I'm going to shoot you, and then you're dead. And then this whole thing is over. So anytime...
The whole story goes nowhere. I mean, he could have... I'm sorry.
Ethan Hawke could
continue.
have stopped them
Could've
at any point. Like, seriously, at any point, he could have
Well,
stopped
not
them.
only that, Alex, but he could have stopped them at any point, or he could have ignored them and gone to where he needed to go
Of
because
course, yeah.
he eventually gets the scarab.
Yeah.
Okay, and all he needs to do
He
is
could have
go to the
done it
scarab
on
and resurrect.
the second
Meanwhile, he keeps
episode.
fucking around with Moon Knight and Layla like they matter. They don't fucking matter. In fact, it's only Layla that fucks everything up by the end because you have to have this plot. My father is dead. Who killed my father? And you see it a mile away coming that Mark was a mercenary. And guess who killed his father? And so she wants to have an argument with him during the middle of the fucking climax.
Yeah.
Did you kill my father? It's like, if we
No,
don't
but I
leave
know
right
what
now,
happened.
we're going to fucking die. People are going to shoot us with machine guns, and this will all be for nothing. And guess what happens? The guy shows up in the crypt, and they all have machine guns pointed at him, and fucking Mark/Steven gets shot and killed. And then we go into the crazy part, and that's when the show is dipping for me, and then we go into this craziness, and it's very crazy, but at least here we can have some really fucking interesting things go down.
Wild things gonna happen.
But anyway, so I'm getting a little too ahead of myself.
The issue is after the first episode, the quality in the bad guy versus good guy relationship drops so heavily that I'm finding myself less and less invested in any individual scene because there is no tension. Because it's like when you watch when someone has defined plot armor from the very beginning of the movie. All the good guys have defined plot armor this entire time. And so anytime there's something, and something eventually does happen, you're like, oh, Mark got shot. I don't care anymore. I don't fucking care. Because this could have happened. This should have happened every single episode up to this point.
They try. They try to make it seem
Lots
like
of
Ethan
people
Hawke's
try, but they didn't
character
succeed.
Has a point. He's not necessarily a wrong villain because look, he's in the middle of a ghetto, slum, drug-filled area, and everybody is friends. They're nice, free food, free movies, like this, kind of culty, but it's like, is it? But it just doesn't work. You're like, no, it's still cartoon villain-like. Unfortunately, I see what they were reaching for. But it didn't really work. And what I don't understand is he reveals in this episode, and I like this part about it, makes him more intriguing, is that he was the previous Moon Knight. He was the previous avatar for Khonshu. But now he's a new avatar? Now he's the avatar of
He wants to be the avatar.
Emmett?
He wants to.
Okay, no, he's not the avatar of Emmett. Then how does he get summoned in the meeting of the gods? Because I thought
He was the
only
witness.
avatars.
They're
Okay,
just calling her a
he was a
witness.
star
'Cause
witness
he's
in
like,
this-
hey, like, did
Sure.
he torture you or anything? He's like, he gave me so much pain, and now he's
okay.
like
So hold on, but
messing up with
Yeah.
Oscar.
in the
with
stupidest
Steven.
court scene that has happened. It is
So here's where we start dropping. But we're in episode 2 still, where he's explaining, look, the guy's manipulating you. Look at all this good that I'm bringing. And then he's like, but bro, you're like judging people before they're, even done anything. I don't know about you, but I crossed the line at killing kids. You guys kill kids? Yes, sometimes if they need to be killed, or if Emmett says Emmett needs to kill them, then they're dead. He's like, all right, I'm out. And so they turn into essentially cartoon villains there, and maybe they could have been written a little bit more better. Better, not maybe. Yes, definitely, because they're constantly fucking with Mark and Steven and Layla when they could have just done their own thing. And the reason why I was thinking, is he an avatar? Because he has a summoning stick. That's the powers that he has from Emmett, and he can basically call in jackals whenever he wants. But I do like that he said, look, you don't have to listen to Khonshu. He's a child. He throws temper tantrums. And honestly, Khonshu does kind of act like a child while he's doing this because he's this voice in his head. Great voice actor, by the way.
So what's his whole thing? He just likes pain? Because in the first time we actually meet him, he's throwing glass in his shoes and walking around with them. So he's just...
I think he's like I guess so. Yeah,
It's an atonement. So
it's an atonement because he used to murder and kill everybody for Khonshu, and now with Emmett, he can try to build this utopia where he never has to fucking do that.
It kind of fits because it's like monks used to do that. The self-flagellation, they like whip themselves to like atone for their sins. And he says that he carries the sins of all the things he did as a Moon Knight. And he said he liked it. That's what he said. It's like that is the greatest sin. Is I liked murdering people, and so that's why he puts Legos in his shoes.
So
Oh, that's even painful.
Eventually,
That's
he finds the cell phone and he gets a bunch of calls from Layla. Who the fuck is Layla? And it turns out it's Mark's wife. And so she comes into the story, and you know.
Do you get the relation? So
No.
you remember when
this
Mark?
is what fails hard in this series.
Well,
this
Mark-
is the weakest aspect of the series.
Yeah.
Mark also is trying to pick up dates when he's taken over Steven's body while he's married to Layla, even though he's like, I love
The
Layla.
other name in there, I didn't think that was a girl. There
Remember-
was like Layla.
No,
the steak,
remember
the
he
steak
was gonna
restaurant.
go
He was
get
going on
the
a
steak.
date with the
He's like,
Oh,
you know,
that's
yeah. He's like,
right.
so he's like trying to go on dates with women while he's taking over the body. So he's like,
Yeah.
Mark's a piece of shit cheating on his
Mark
wife.
is a
Yeah.
piece
he's
of
like,
shit.
what? I don't remember that.
You know, I
He's
love
like,
my wife. It's
I
like,
don't eat steak. I was like, that's Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's two personalities in one body. And then they kidnap him. Police show up to the fucking house. His kind of wife hides it. Well, I don't want to go into each individual episode in detail. We could do that in the future. But eventually, I feel like the first time we really get a badass Marvel action scene is what in episode 2, right? At the end, he summons the suit. But there,
Are you talking about the Jackal
it's
fight?
invisible. Yeah, the Jackal fight.
Yeah, I don't
It's
think that-
Steven's suit versus Jackal fight. So we get one fight there. Then in episode 3, we get a fight at the Egyptian jousting show.
I
which
don't
was,
like that
I
fight.
didn't like
It was
that
not a
fight
very well
either.
good fight.
So their
Yeah,
two
there's
fights
not really
haven't
a
been that
lot.
great so far. And then in episode 4, Layla's frustrating incompetence gets people fucking killed, and then
And then he goes into some crazy
mental hospital.
hospital where
And the show
I
wants
don't
us
know.
to believe, or at least they want, Steven and Mark to believe that this was all a fucking dream and that none of this was real. He's just having delusions. He's been in a mental hospital all the time, and he's looking at little objects and creating stories about them.
they're watching Tomb Busters
Yeah.
with the heroic Steve Grant.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, this show turned real low budget. But then it was a TV show.
Yeah, me
within
too.
the
I was like,
thing.
wait, did they finish this?
Did they finish this? Actually, it was unfinished, and we were watching
Yeah.
some of the CGI, and it actually had timestamps and stuff. It was really
Mm-hmm.
early stuff. But that kind of got me interested again because now you have
But for
sort
the
of
wrong
Mark-
reasons
yeah,
for me.
the wrong reasons,
Like,
yeah.
okay, where's this going? I don't really care.
But I was hoping for this wacky, crazy, and then maybe touching on the mental illness part.
If
and
they would have
stuff,
done it
it's like,
further in the
Yeah,
beginning,
in the
but
beginning.
now, like, there's only 6 episodes, right?
yeah.
There's only, yeah,
There's
there's
the
only
fourth
only
one.
two
There's only
more.
2 more. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think they could turn it around for me.
They touch on some really, really cool things. Like, I love Brendan Fraser's The Mummy. I think that movie is one of the greatest adventure movies
notch.
ever made. And they touch on some of that
We
in
get a
episode. We
little
get a
bit
little
of that in episode 4,
But then they just don't address
where
a lot
they go
of the things.
tomb raiding.
Yeah, and then it's actually really kind of cool. And then as quickly as it showed up and I got excited about it, it's gone. And now we're doing some alternate dimension. Like, is he in his mind? Is he in some sort of like weird Egyptian hell where he's got, quest for his organs to get out or do something crazy? I don't know what's going to happen. And so, like, I'm more morbidly curious than I am, like,
Exactly.
clamoring to
Yeah.
see this next episode.
And I think they had time to do something with it because these episodes have been like 50 minutes.
They were much longer, I thought, yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah, and they've
50.
had
So they
time,
had
and it
time
doesn't-
to flesh
the
certain
pacing,
things
the
out. But
direction
now it
seems
just,
weak.
yeah.
That's episode 4. Let's go back and do episode 3 real quick, where it's a Layla-centered episode, at least first. But then you have the asinine meeting of the gods, and got real excited. I'm like, wow, you're really fleshing out the lore here. There's multiple avatars. It's not just Moon Knight. So we're gonna see like an Avatar of Ra fight, an Avatar of fucking just all these really cool god fights or something. But no, they're all fucking stupid, and they make the dumbest decisions, and they're supposedly gods, and so basically, it's.
But
Cashew
the thing-
sends a signal to everybody, fucks with the sun, and the gods are like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Calling a
What do you-
meeting.
They called a meeting. He's like, "Look, this guy is trying to resurrect. One of the gods is gonna fuck everybody." And then they're like, "Yeah, but how? But how is your mental health? Or yeah, well, are you hurt? Or it's like, what the fuck
This
are
is
you
a
talking
safe
about?
space. You
This
can
is a
tell
safe
us.
space." I'm like, oh.
But they said
Fucking
that
stupid.
these are
And
the
then they
gods.
completely ignore why else would Cashew do something that would anger all the gods to get their attention, to tell them, look, something's about to happen. And, oh, it's Cashew. He's just an asshole.
But the gods are like saying that we're just here to observe the humans and do this and that. Do they not see what Arthur's doing? The all-powerful gods?
Arthur?
Yeah, Ethan.
Ethan Hawke.
Oh,
Ethan Hawke.
yeah.
Did he not-
Harlow or something.
No, they
Harrow.
They don't listen to any evidence whatsoever. It is
yeah,
one of the
right.
dumbest court things.
I've never. And these are supposed to be gods.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
it's
saying. You know,
awful.
like they're
One
just
of the
gonna,
dumbest court
they're
things.
just gonna like ignore him doing nothing.
It frustrated me to no end. I was like, this is literally shit writing.
It's like, what are we even
if you're
doing
gonna
here?
have this in here, then lend respect to some of these, gods and the story and the mythology. But it's just awful. Like, maybe make it to where the gods are like, I don't want this to happen. We don't give a shit. And they try to do this. Like, look, we don't interfere with mortal things, but also we don't want to let Amit out. Well, if you don't want to let him out, then what? Why
Like,
did
you know what he's
listen?
doing.
And then what resulted is we get a MacGuffin quest at the end, something that Cashew would have known about.
Right.
He would have known the whole time. He knows about the tomb.
So because
It's even worse.
any of those avatars could follow Haro around to see if he's actually trying to resurrect Amet, and they would know. It's just it pisses me off so much. But okay, so he gets the fucking scarab and all hope is lost, but they're like, don't worry. One, the goddess of love and music is on your side, and her avatar says, hey, you know what? There's another way you can get to that tomb and figure out where it was. Long ago, we told this one guy in case, we wanted to bring that god back where the thing is.
Yeah.
And so just go to his tomb and you can read about where to find it instead of just letting the scarab follow. So then they go and fucking do that. But yet somehow, Haro has to show up and fuck with him. But if Haro, dude, if you would have already completed this, but you got to come over here and fuck with this and this rich guy subplot with his fucking collection. It was just, I hated it. So anyway, I'm getting unfocused here because it's like
You're unfocused
just-
because the show is unfocused at this
It
point.
is. That's the pacing on this is just like, all right, what are we doing? Like, this is this is a fucking joke. These villains are a fucking joke.
He also has priceless ancient artifacts outside to make the scene work. There's like this ancient sarcophagus, and it's open, by the way.
The
and
writing
it's
is
in a
bad.
glass pyramid outdoors in Egypt. It's like, well, I don't know if
and
that's
he's
a good idea.
so weird about letting
It's
people
just
see.
private
It's like, what the
island.
fuck?
Nobody could get in. All right.
I hate it.
Oh man, it's so
Anyways,
terrible.
we'll get there as you get there, guys. I think that's enough insight into where the show is. It is flawed. It's conflicting. It doesn't really satisfy in the action department. It doesn't really satisfy in the character study department, at least not yet. Maybe the scene where he's shot and we're in a mental hospital, that could kind of get more of the character study, but it's not satisfying. And then the weakest part is the series seems to think you care about a love story between Mark,
Yeah, I was gonna say the chemistry
Steven,
between-
and Layla. And honestly, there is the most awkward on-screen kiss I have seen in so long in episode 4. It is the most awkward kiss and kind of love story that is not working.
That's not working.
Not working at all, and that's dragging the series down. But
Amongst
what is
other
working
things.
is Moon Knight himself, Cashew, we'll call him Cashew, himself, and when he's like, and then the Egyptian mythology.
Not enough
when they're
Moon
not
Knight,
acting
though.
stupid.
Not enough Moon Knight.
Yeah, not enough Moon Knight. You're right, and he doesn't really get into the suit often, even though they're screaming, "Put the suit on! Put the suit on!" The Egyptian god of the moon is basically
costs
like
money.
us. Put the suit on.
Yeah.
It costs money, all right? We have to pay these actors.
Yeah.
There's
I did like how Steven has his own suit, though. It's like he's like, put a suit on. Okay, I'll put a suit on. And it's a white suit, and he's a terrible fighter. And he's like, hey, can we talk about this? And he's got the suit. I like that part. Kind of Deadpool-ish.
So yeah, very Deadpoolish. There's a scene where one of the gods is imprisoned Cashew. And there's a wall.
Khonshu, but
Yeah,
I
I know.
know
Well, we can call him Cashew. And so there's all of these imprisoned gods.
I did
And
notice.
I can't wait for the people who like really know their Marvel lore to freeze frame, zoom in, and go, "That's Mephisto.
No.
That's so and so. That's Mephisto confirmed." Okay.
I did a little
gonna
bit of that.
happen.
I did
It's
a
gonna
little. I
happen.
counted. There's 9 other gods in prison in that same way. But the thing is, is that there are so many Egyptian gods, and then gods of gods, and then gods have children. That these could be literally anybody.
Mephisto
and
confirmed.
Okay, Mephisto confirmed in episode 4 at the
Yeah.
start. All right, guys, that's it so far. And we'll keep a lot of these other, because there's a lot of other spoilers in there, but we'll keep it for when we can go through it together. All right, guys. So overall, based upon the premiere, I know it's awkward to give a rating for the first 4 episodes, but where would you rank this premiere? I'd say 7 out of 10 overall.
Overall,
Mm-hmm.
6.
It's okay.
6 for me.
Yeah.
Like the first one was the strongest one, then it just kind of like went off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about the chemistry. Like the actors are doing their job, but the writing on this is just like bland.
Yeah.
I say 6.
Yeah, I mean, I'm even lower than that. I think that the series has gotten worse every single episode. Now, it has plenty of time. 2 episodes is a great time to turn around and bring everything together and make me care about some other things with some reveals. They're just not there right now.
Yeah.
So because I gave the episode 1 a 6 and I don't think it got better, I think that the premiere is actually a 5. Now, it's early. Now, it definitely has time to completely redeem itself at the end. But we're not there
That's
yet.
asking for a lot, though.
I'm changing my rating from a 7 to a 6 because I'm actually going off of the very last bit. I'm like, this is gonna get wild. This is gonna get crazy.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a Loki, kind of stuff like that, or but we're not there yet. So I'm not. I shouldn't give credit for something I haven't seen, especially when it's been so
all
up and down
assumptions right
so
now.
far. Right. So I'm going back down to 6 for the premiere, and we hope it gets better. But so far, where would you rank this particular Marvel Disney Plus series? I think it's the. Do I like Hawkeye or this more? I think having seen the entirety of Hawkeye, it's a little unfair. I think I like this slightly more than Hawkeye, but I need to see the conclusion to be sure.
I definitely.
And we're talking about bottom. We're
that's what
talking
I'm
about the last
thinking.
place.
Oh yeah, I
for
definitely
Hawkeye.
agree with that. I love the weirdness and some of the stuff that's happening here. Hawkeye really didn't have the weirdness was just no one uses a gun, and that's just like poor writing. But this also has cartoon bad guys. Hawkeye had cartoon bad guys. This has cartoon bad guys. So I guess this one gets the
Slightly.
edge for weirdness.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, it's not the worst, guys. So there you go. Let's
Not
go.
yet.
Let's
Not
go
yet.
through the misery together and point out all the things that don't make sense, but then appreciate its weirdness, right? All right. So hopefully we get into the last 2 episodes and there's a huge climactic battle at the end. But wow, we've got 5 weeks until that is. So we will see you guys then on the next Angry Joe show. Bye, guys.